If you have margarine in the fridge, pay attention to this video. Another edition of Eat This, Not That. Country Crock margarine versus real Organic Valley butter. We're gonna substitute out Country Crock. We're gonna look at Smart Balance. We're gonna look at Earth Balance, several vegetable spreads that we're gonna break down right here on this video. You'll be a little bit appalled when you understand the process of making a vegetable spread. I know you're trying to avoid butter. I know you're trying to avoid the saturated fats, but is it actually benefiting your health? Well, there was an American Journal of Clinical Nutrition study with 350,000 people. And they looked at those 350,000 people over a 23-year period of time. And they found no association between eating saturated fat, butter, and heart disease. 350,000 people over 23 years, very rock solid study in a very prestigious journal. So is it the saturated fat that's the problem? Or is it our overall bad eating, processed foods, and toxic lifestyle? Certainly the solution, as you'll see as you go through this video, is not going to be vegetable spreads and margins, but I'm gonna show you what you can have. Let's dive in. Straight to Country Crock out of the gates. Look at the breakdown of this. It's touted as 28% vegetable oil. I don't know where they get that. Look at the front of it, it's light. It's gonna say like friendly for cholesterol or heart healthy, depending on the front of this. Never read the front, always go where? To the ingredient label. And what is on there is, it's saying 28% vegetable oil spread. That's what it says on their website. It's light, so it's 28%. There's no vegetables in it. Soybean oil, which is the #1 genetically modified food on the planet. Soybean is most of the time genetically modified. That creates an issue with your DNA when you're ingesting something that has altered DNA. That's a bean. Palm kernel oil and palm oil, those are fruits. I don't know where they're getting vegetable from. It's baffling. And then there's a lot of other emulsifiers, flavorings. This is gonna be a bad case of flavorings. If it's from a reputable company, I'm okay with it, or if it has certifications. Soy, so we got more soy added in there, and then a couple synthetic vitamins to boot. Vinegar, salt, I'm okay with those. Purified water, thank God. But the #1 ingredient is purified water. So 72% of this is water, salt, coloring, flavoring, preservatives, and additives. How is that logically better for our heart than something that comes from nature in the form of butter? It's rather shocking. The second example we can look at is Smart Balance. Supports healthy cholesterol levels that are already in normal range. Look at the fine print always. It's touting a whopping 400 milligrams of omega-3. This is going to be more of a plant-based ALA. The one that you want to lower inflammation is going to be EPA and DHA. There's nothing wrong with ALA in general. However, when it comes in a plant-based form, it is very, 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 very delicate. Any sort of heat or exposure turns it rancid. It's like smoking the oil on top of the stove. If you heat it too much, it smokes. That is rancid oil. You've changed the chemical makeup of the oil. You kind of start sizzling it. You need to pour that oil out and start over. That's the type of oil that are in these vegetable spreads. So let's not look at the front because that's very deceiving. Let's take our way to the back. Go right to the ingredient label. We got vegetable oil blend, of course. Canola, we've talked about a lot on here. That's going to be from a rape seed, and it is very high in omega-6s. It is high in the chemical hexane, which is used to make the product. Palm and olive. I'm good with olive mostly. The problem is a lot of the olive that is imported into the United States or around the world is blended with other oils. So now you get the rancidity. It's not pure olive by itself. That's what you want to look at as an olive oil that is from one origin, cold pressed and protected. That's not going to be the case here. Palm can be, kind of a middle of the road one. Contains less than 2% of salt, pea protein, natural and artificial flavors. So now we're getting artificial flavorings induced. These are chemicals that can wreak havoc on allergies, on neurological symptoms, on brain health, and on focus, especially in children. So we've got to be aware of any type of artificial flavor. Lecithin, vitamin A, beta carotene, monoglycerides, vegetable fatty acids, emulsifiers, potassium sorbate, and EDTA. I want to go into those two because those are, in a place like Whole Foods, right, unacceptable in food. They will not allow this into their store because they have deemed it unacceptable in food. But in a lot of places, acceptable. Might even be in your kitchen. Why is this such a problem? Why is the potassium sorbate such a problem? Potassium sorbate inhibits the growth of mold. So that's why they use it as a preservative. However, it's a mild skin and eye irritant, and it has the potential to mess with our DNA. In fact, in one study, potassium sorbate is clearly seen to be genotoxic to the human peripheral blood lymphocytes, or white blood cells. It can alter the DNA of. In another study, it's mutagenic, meaning it has DNA damaging activity and it kills mold. So why is that ending up inside of our food supply? Well, protecting this thing, because obviously it's going to go rancid because it's made with rancid oils and it's going to start to decay. So they put the preservative in there. Let's also look at its counterpart, EDTA. EDTA is very common. So get to know this one. Just learning about margarine and what's in this, you might spot stuff in many other areas, many other foods, because EDTA is used so often. Now, it's an foaming agent. It's a stabilizer, preservative. It's got a foaming action to it, but it's a chelating agent, which means it's used to precipitate out metals from a formulation. Now, the problem why that's bad when it comes to your food is it's a penetration enhancer, meaning although itself doesn't penetrate the skin or penetrate your digestive tract very easily, it enhances other chemicals to do it. So by eating EDTA, you are calling a locksmith to unopen some doors so toxins can get through into your system that normally would not have been able to get through. That's what EDTA does. Let alone being a chemical, it's going to make other chemicals have more damage inside of the system. So that's why I avoid it. You can see why a company like Whole Foods says unacceptable in foods. Let's even look at the so-called healthy version of a vegetable spread, an organic one. Let's take a look. Earth Balance, non-GMO, vegan. At least they're trying to pay attention to it. It's got a great buttery taste, USDA certified organic on the front. But again, even if all that stuff is there, let's go to the ingredient label. Although this is way better than Country Crock, this is way better than Smart Balance, we still have to read the ingredient label. So here it is, and we have a vegetable oil spread. Right out of the gates, again, we're getting palm, we're getting soybean, we're getting extra virgin olive oil. So I like the olive oil, but this is made from the exact same stuff that we saw in the Smart Balance. Soybean, genetically modified, but it's organic, so it probably isn't. However, that can have an estrogenic effect on the body. Canola, even if it is organic, very high in omega-6s. This is going to be very inflammatory to the body. We have a natural flavor, which should be approved since it's organic and it's non-GMO, so it's actually okay. Defatted soy flour, more estrogenic flour added to it, made out of soy. That's going to work the opposite direction for most men, exposing them to extra estrogen, which is going to work against testosterone, and that extra estrogen could have impact on menopausal symptoms for a lot of women. Lactic acid, annatto, no problems with that. However, this is an inflammatory oil. That's the point here. Although most of the rest of it is clean, we are getting a high exposure to soy and we are getting an inflammatory food. We've got to read the ingredient labels to understand, is this going to make me inflamed? Is it going to make my insulin go up? Sugars, right? So bad fats, sugars. And is this going to help me be the solution to fixing my health? Because it's real food that's giving my body nutrients, that's enhancing it, that's going to help me build health. This one doesn't build health. It has a less of an impact of taking away from health as Smart Balance or Country Crock, but it's still not building health. So what do? We just go back to butter, right? And if you're a vegetarian, then you're in a very tough place, right? Especially a vegan. Vegetarian, maybe you're okay with using a little bit of butter, but we go back to real butter. Check this out. So here is a good example of one. Organic Valley, unsalted butter. Again, on the front of the package, we're seeing pasture-raised cows. Love to see that. USDA organic symbol. So we know it doesn't have the glyphosate. It's not genetically modified. It has the non-GMO. It's unsalted, or you can get salted. Usually they use sea salt. And our farms never use antibiotics, synthetic hormones, pesticides, or GMOs. So they're holding a standard here to make some very strong claims. Let's scroll down. We go down to the ingredients, right? The package is fine on the front, but we always go to the ingredient label. Pasteurized organic sweet cream, lactic acid. This is organic cream with lactic acid. That's it. 2 ingredients. No unnatural oils that are high in omega-6s. This is going to be saturated fat. It's going to be a source of omega-3s, especially if the cow was not inflamed. The more that the cow is fed bad omega-6s and grains, the more inflamed it's going to get, which means the more inflamed you get. You're not what you eat, you're what you eat. In this scenario, they're fed good stuff, so they have low inflammation. The butter then has low inflammation. It only only has 2 ingredients. We're not seeing a lot of those preservatives. This is a real food. No antibiotics, no synthetic hormones, no pesticides, no GMO anything. That's going to be the real stuff. So if you're going to choose one, that's the route I would go. There are several brands out there. I don't have a tie directly to this one for organic butter, but when the Livingoods buy it, that's what we look for. If you need some help understanding a way around the grocery store, some of the ones we'd be looking for that might be approved, check out this next video here where I literally take you to the grocery store and shop for butter and these types of things. And what are we looking for to make this easier and easier? There's resources in the description for you. Check out this next video. There is your Eat This, Not That breakdown. And if you want to see more Eat This Is Not That, I also put that link in the description for you too to check it out. Here's your next video.